Hey guys, have you ever noticed more hair on your pillow or in the shower drain and thought, am I losing too much hair? Today, let's break it down together. Because not all hair loss means something is wrong, but sometimes it's your body's way of telling you to pay attention. Have you ever brushed your hair in the morning and noticed a few strands falling onto the comb, prompting sudden worrying that you might be experiencing abnormal hair loss? In reality, if it's just a few strands or a small tuft, that's completely normal. Hair, much like skin or nails, follows a natural cycle of growth, rest, and shedding to make way for new strands. The average adult has between 100,000 and 150,000 hairs on their head. That might sound like a lot, but because of this vast number, our bodies maintain a balance with a certain rate of hair loss and regrowth. Scientists have calculated that a healthy person can lose between 50 and 150 hairs per day. This number might seem high, but compared to the hundreds of thousands of hairs on your head, it's actually quite minor. You can think of it this way. If a forest has hundreds of thousands of trees, the fact that a few dozen fall each day doesn't make the entire forest disappear. The forest remains green and thriving. The same goes for our hair. Daily shedding is just part of its natural life cycle. However, this remains normal only when the amount of hair loss stays within that range. If you wake up one morning to find your pillow covered in hair, or after washing your hair, you pick up a handful from your palm, that's no longer typical shedding. When hair loss becomes so significant that you start noticing visible scalp or thinning in specific areas, like the crown or temples, your body might be sending a signal that something internal is off. I recall a friend once sharing that for 2 consecutive months after a severe illness, every time she brushed her hair, the comb would be full of strands. At first, she thought it was due to a shampoo change, but upon looking in the mirror, she noticed her hair had thinned noticeably, with her part line becoming more prominent. That's when she realized hair loss isn't just an external issue, but is often tied to internal health. Her body might have been lacking nutrients, enduring prolonged stress, or facing hormonal imbalances. Therefore, the most important thing is to distinguish between natural shedding and abnormal hair loss. If you count a few dozen strands while washing or brushing, rest assured that's perfectly normal. But if you start seeing hair falling out in clumps, shedding excessively every day without improvement, or noticing fewer new hairs growing, it's time to pay closer attention to your health. Hair loss isn't just a cosmetic concern, it can sometimes be a sign of underlying issues you haven't yet identified. In simple terms, understanding how your hair is shedding can help you stay calm. Don't panic when a few strands fall, but don't ignore it either if your body is trying to speak up. This act of listening is the first step toward protecting not only your hair, but also your overall health. Once we understand that losing a few strands of hair daily is normal, it becomes easier to breathe a sigh of relief. However, the story doesn't end there, as not all types of hair loss are the same. In fact, there are various forms of hair loss, each with its own causes and manifestations. Recognizing the specific type of hair loss you're experiencing can help you find the right solution, instead of getting lost in a maze of online remedies. The first 10 most common type is genetic hair loss, also known as androgenetic alopecia. This is the type people often refer to when talking about baldness. It tends to appear in older men, though women can experience it too. In men, hair typically thins around the forehead, forming an M-shaped hairline that gradually spreads to the crown. You might picture the classic image of a head thinning over the years. For women, this type of hair loss usually leads to overall thinning rather than complete baldness. What's unique about this form is its hereditary nature. If someone in your family has it, there's a good chance you might too. Another type is telogen effluvium. This involves sudden, excessive hair loss following a shock to the body. This could happen after a severe illness, surgery, childbirth, or even a prolonged period of mental stress. Many people who had COVID reported experiencing a wave of hair loss over a few months, finding hair everywhere on their combs or pillows. It sounds alarming, but fortunately, this type of hair loss is usually temporary. As the body recovers, new hair will grow back. The key is to be patient and focus on overall health to get through that phase. Next is traction alopecia, a type of hair loss that many don't expect. It doesn't stem from illness or genetics, but from daily habits. When you tie your hair too tightly, use tight clips, or wear a snug helmet frequently, the hair follicles endure constant pulling. Over time, they weaken and stop producing new hair. I once knew a friend who, for years, tied her hair up tightly for convenience at work. One day, looking in the mirror, she was shocked to see her temples thinning. It wasn't until she changed her habits, letting her hair loose more often, that new hair began to grow back. This type of hair loss shows how small daily actions can significantly impact your hair. Finally, there's alopecia areata, an autoimmune condition. In this case, the immune system mistakenly identifies hair follicles as intruders and attacks them, causing hair to fall out in distinct, round patches. People are often surprised when they brush their hair one morning and discover a small, cone-sized bald spot. If the condition progresses, these patches can spread. However, what's notable is that hair can grow back, only to fall out again in cycles. This type of hair loss tends to be the most unsettling, as it follows no easily predictable pattern. So, hair loss isn't just about the number of strands lost, it's a story of the type and the underlying causes. From genetics and illness to stress and daily habits, all can affect your hair. Identifying the specific type of hair loss is like naming an uninvited guest. Only by knowing exactly who you're dealing with can you find the most appropriate way to respond. And that's the crucial step to making your journey of caring for and preserving your hair clearer and more effective. Now that you're aware of the common types of hair loss, the next natural question is, when should we really start worrying and seek a doctor's help? As I've mentioned, losing a few strands of hair daily is completely normal and even necessary for the natural hair life cycle. However, there are times when your hair becomes a mirror reflecting your internal health, and those are moments you shouldn't ignore. One of the first signs to watch for is a sudden change. If you're used to seeing just a few hairs on your comb, but suddenly find a large handful one morning, or notice clumps of hair washing down the drain after a shower, that's a warning signal. Hair doesn't fall out in such quantities without an underlying cause. A rapid change is always noteworthy, as it suggests your body might be experiencing a shock, whether physical or emotional. The second sign is noticeable thinning in a specific area. For example, you might brush your hair and realize your part line is widening, or your scalp becomes more visible under sunlight. Some people notice patchy areas on the crown or even round bald spots as if shaved. Changes concentrated in one region often indicate an issue with the follicles there, possibly due to genetics, autoimmune conditions, or prolonged tension from tight hairstyles. Whatever the reason, this isn't something to overlook. Another aspect to observe is accompanying symptoms. If hair loss comes with persistent fatigue, unexplained rapid weight loss, or unusual hormonal changes, it's likely more than a cosmetic issue. An underactive thyroid, iron deficiency, lack of vitamin B12, or other hormonal imbalances can all lead to significant hair loss. I recall a friend who complained about losing so much hair that she grew worried. A doctor's visit revealed she had anemia due to iron deficiency. After proper treatment, her hair loss gradually stabilized. This shows that hair can sometimes act as an alarm bell, prompting you to seek answers elsewhere. Additionally, pay attention to the duration. Hair loss after an illness or a stressful period might last a few months and then recover. But if it persists for over 6 months without improvement, it's unlikely to resolve on its own. At that point, consulting a dermatologist or hair specialist is essential for targeted treatment. The key is not to wait until hair loss becomes severe before taking action. Your body often sends early signals, and recognizing them in time allows for gentler, more effective intervention. Sometimes, adjusting daily habits, improving nutrition, or reducing stress can help your hair recover. But if delayed, hair follicles can shrink and stop functioning, making regrowth much harder. In short, treat your hair like a sensitive barometer. If you notice sudden changes, clumps of hair falling out, obvious thinning in specific areas, accompanying bodily symptoms, or prolonged duration, it's time to seek medical advice. Being proactive and observant not only helps preserve your hair, but can also uncover important health issues before they become serious. By now, you've likely started to piece together a broader picture of hair loss. From understanding that losing a few strands daily is normal, to distinguishing between common types of hair loss, and recognizing when to pay closer attention, your knowledge has grown. But this knowledge will remain static unless we engage and share more together. That's why I'd like to spend a few minutes chatting with you, not just as someone sharing insights, but as a companion on your hair care journey. Perhaps you're watching this video and see yourself in the stories I've shared. Maybe you've been startled by the amount of hair falling out during a wash, Or you've wondered why your hair keeps thinning despite trying various shampoos and supplements. Or perhaps you're in a phase of uncertainty, unsure if your hair loss is worth worrying about or where to begin improving it. If you're in any of these situations, rest assured you're not alone. Many people are going through the same thing, and it's through conversations and real-life experiences that we can all find solutions faster and more effectively. I'd love to hear your story. Have you ever experienced hair loss? When did it start? And what have you done to cope? Was there anything that worked, or something that left you disappointed? Leave your thoughts, experiences, or even your questions in the comments below. Who knows, your small story might become a big source of encouragement for someone else in a similar situation. And if you find the information in this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button to let me know this topic is truly benefiting you. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos, as I'll continue sharing more knowledge, experiences, and specific solutions for caring for and improving your hair. Each week will feature a new topic, step by step, to help you feel more confident when you look in the mirror and proud of your own hair. One more thing, if you know someone in your family, among your friends, or at work who's dealing with hair loss, share this video with them. Sometimes, a small gesture like this can help someone find the answers they've been seeking for a long time. Because hair loss isn't just your story or mine, it's a shared concern for many. And we can absolutely support each other, starting with simple acts like this. Finally, I want to remind you, hair is more than just appearance. It's about health, confidence, and a part of how we present ourselves to the world. So, observe, listen, and care for your hair with love and patience. And if you need a companion on this journey, I hope this channel becomes a place where you can find more information, motivation, and connection.